why do we have a war between El Flaco Mayo of the Sinaloa cartel with the Chapitos, who were also part of the Sinaloa cartel? It's very simple. By El Mayo being in prison here in the United States, a vacuum was left. And somebody has to now be the head of Sinaloa cartel. El Mayo Flaco, El Mayo's son, has put himself in that position. However, the Chapitos want control of Sinaloa cartel. They want to be the ones basically running all the Sinaloa cartel's operations. I'll remind you that El Guano, who is El Chapo Guzman's brother, Artemio Guzman Loera, is really the head of the Chapitos. So therefore, because a vacuum was filled, now the Chapitos feeling that they should be able to take control, and now they're warring against El Flaco Mayo, and there's a bloody war going on, but it has nothing to do with the fact that El Mayo basically was kidnapped or tricked into uh, coming to the U.S. by Joaquin Guzman Lopez, El Chapito's son. So that is why they're fighting. Now, and I remind you, had it been that El Flaco Mayo was upset because supposedly the Chapitos had turned his father in, there would have been war immediately. No, the war just started. Here, El Mayo has been in prison 2 months already, and the war barely flared up. But it's a war of who's going to take control of the Sinaloa cartel. Like I stated before, El Flaco Mayo feels that he should be in charge of it, and he's got his people, his pistoleros, his sicarios, and then you have the Chapitos over here on the other side, being basically supervised by El Chapo's brother, El Guano, they call him. And they feel that they should be in control of the Sinaloa cartel. And I remind you, the Sinaloa cartel distributes not only drugs in the United States, but they are a transnational organization. I mean, they supply a lot of cocaine, methamphetamines, and fentanyl to the European community. So, hey, that's a big operation there. There's big money to be made there for whoever takes over the Sinaloa cartel. I want to clarify something that in a previous interview that I did, I mentioned that El Raton was also a cooperating witness, and I misstated that El Raton was El Mayo's son. I meant to say that it was El Gordo Mayo who was basically in the States and also had become a protected witness. But that is El Mayo's son. And I want to clarify here so people will know that I misspoke there. What I meant to say was El Gordo Mayo, and I mentioned El Raton, which is El Chapo's son, to clarify that. But it is the sons now that are fighting for control of the Sinaloa cartel. Now, the Jalisco Nueva Generación cartel, which is the opposing cartel, which is headed by El Mencho, right now they're happy this war's going on. They're even staying out of it because they want to become, of course, the most powerful cartel in Mexico. But again, there, El Mencho supposedly is very sick too. He's not in good health. So we'll see how this war ends up. But right now, there is a lot of violence, a lot of war going on in Culiacan. As a matter of fact, the schools in Culiacan are currently closed because of all the violence that's occurring there between the Chapitos and again El Flaco Mayo. It is no secret that the Chapitos has even left the Culiacan area, and that it is basically suspected that they're hiding here in the States, and that El Mayo Flaco has told them, stay where you're at, because if you come back, we're going to kill all of you. And if you do anything to hurt our operations, Remember, you have family here, and we will kill all of your family members. That's how bad it is. It is a big problem, and they're warring within. Remember, the Chapitos and Flaco Mayo were all part of the Sinaloa cartel. So it's the Sinaloa cartel that's in war, has got a war within its ranks. That is what's going on in Mexico right now. I have experienced wars between cartels, but never in the magnitude of the war that's going on now. In the old Guadalajara cartel, which was run by Ernesto Fonseca Carrillo, he basically has formed a federation of all the cartels. Uh, the Felix Arellanos, the Michoacana family, Garcia Abrego operation in Texas. He put them all under the Guadalajara cartel. There was no violence between them. If anybody got out of line and had to be killed, it had to be sanctioned by a commission, kind of like the commission that Lucky Luciano formed with the Italian mob. So the old man kept a very strong control of all the little cartels that sprung up at that time. Yes, there was some warring between them, but it wasn't that bad. And the reason that Fonseca formed this federation, it was called a federation in Mexico, was to keep everybody in line. If one cartel member wanted to kill a cartel member from another group, they had to come before the federation, and the old man would say, "Okay, take him out, or don't take him out." There was, violence was not tolerated. And the old man was very good about keep the violence away from the good citizens of Mexico. In other words, they were not permitted to just go out and kill some citizen or rape some girl because they had to come before the Federation if they did it to be punished. And a lot of them were killed for doing some of this stuff. So the old man, Fonseca, kept very tight control. What happened? We destroyed the Guadalajara cartel because of Kiki Camarena's murder. And then we arrested Fonseca, Caro Quintero, Felix Gallardo, the heads of them were all and I was responsible for investigating and arresting a lot of these guys. So what happens is now you have all these groups, Familia Michoacana, all the La Linea, all these other little groups sprung up, and either they went with under the Jalisco Nueva Generación cartel or the Sinaloa cartel. So we did see a lot of violence between the Nueva Generación cartel and the Fonseca cartel, the Guadalajara cartel, but never in the magnitude that we see it now. We're having shootouts now where 20, 30 people are gone down. And because there was never a federation formed, these cartel guys could go out, extort money from people, rape girls right off the street, pick up girls and rape them right off the street, and commit a lot of crimes. It is out of control. It is totally out of control. I mean, these guys run around with the police, extorting people, killing people, and it's very, very egregious type of violence. What happens in Mexico is you have certain generals of the Mexican army that protect the Jalisco Nueva Generación cartel, and then there are the generals that protect the Sinaloa cartel, and then you have the government who basically also protects these cartels, and they're all on the take. They're all on the take. Everybody's got their hand out. The generals get paid, the politicians get paid, the presidents get paid, and this is why these presidents right now, these former presidents that got money from El Mayo, are shaking in their boots. Of course, he can give him up. Now, I believe he's going to give him up. And I believe, and my instincts tell me in experience, that he has worked out a deal. But Mayo, remember, has got to go through the judicial system. He's got to plead not guilty, which he has. They're gonna have a trial, which he'll be convicted and sentenced, which we'll see, and then is what we're gonna see the deal that he's worked out.